Hey.
Hey, welcome back to the most wonderful real estate podcast ever. I feel like I've been gone forever. I know I did some summer series, I did some quick shows for the last few months. I've been putting out just all the calls I've recorded with all my guests. But I feel like I have not talked to you all for such a long time. So it is officially October. So I'm launching, kind of relaunching. This is episode 290. Think about that. 290. Wow, we started together so long. Actually, I think in October, like 3 years ago. So we started together a long time ago. I'm just looking at myself in the mirror here. I'm in a hotel room. This is the first time I've traveled since everything started with Bill. So I think the last time I actually came on and talked to y'all was in like February or March when I was just getting ready to move into the hotel and start this crazy thing with Bill. So I'm in a hotel room. I thought, you know what? I'm going to do some podcasting here. So I have to just use the light off of the window. So I'm like, you know what? That looks pretty good. There we go. Long. So last time I talked to you all, like really had a chance to just like talk and say, hey, and what's up? Bill was getting ready to go in for his stem cell transplant. Or I think he was already in. I think the last podcast I did from my living room in Colorado, Bill was already in the hospital. He got a stem cell transplant. That was in March. So April, May, June, July, August, September, October. So it's 7 months ago that he got the transplant. So this is the first time I've actually traveled. So that whole time, I did some podcasts from the hotel. I did that fun summer series, like little 10-minute shows. I did a bunch of little 1-minute things. And of course, I interviewed a lot of people. But I just haven't felt like ready to sort of like just come back yet. Because honestly, I feel like I have PTSD. It's been so freaking crazy. So I've got new music. So you're hearing my new vibe, my new music, got all the new stuff going on. So I'm pretty excited. I'm excited to be back. I'm excited to be able to get back on track with the education, the training, and the things that, that I love so much about real estate investing. And I'm super excited because in my summer series, I think I told you all about some people I had door knocks. But anyway, I closed that check. I closed that deal 2 weeks ago. From the day I signed the contract to the day we closed it, 14 exact days, and we netted $36,000. So that was pretty exciting because, I haven't been able to door knock or get out, and I've been just so locked in with Bill. So my daughter's like, oh, we want to go. I'm like, oh, I'll go with you, but I'm only going to go on Mondays. Like, I'm just going to go on Mondays. So I started going on just Mondays. And I think I either talked to you about it or I had done a recording that's going to come out next week. And I didn't get a chance to put it out. So the one that you hear next week might be the one that should be prior to this one. But it's the 1st of October, and I wanted to start off October saying hi with the new music, the new vibe, and just kind of update everybody. So let's start with Bill. First of all, Bill's doing amazing. He really, truly is a science project. Honestly, no matter how much they prepare you, and we had to go to counseling, we had to watch a million videos. There's so much that you have to do. Oh, stretch right there and learn. Oh, I forgot to start off. Welcome to the most wonderful real estate podcast ever. I'm your host, Dwan Twyford. Let me start off with all the stuff for the people that are just freshly meeting me. This is the most wonderful real estate podcast ever. It's amazing. It's wonderful. It's Dwanderful. We start off, we had drinks with Dwan. So I'm having my live enzymes, still sticking to my good stuff. So cheers to you. I'm excited that you're here today. Our motto at Dwanderful is people before profit. So if that resonates with you, you're at the right place and this is the right time. The website is dwanderful.com. If you opt in, you'll get a whole bunch of free stuff. In fact, you'll get my program that's called the Top 7 Real Estate Investing Strategies for Today's New Market. You'll get that broken down into chapters because it's a big book and program. It's a training program, and you'll get 20 chapters, I think, like every other day for a month or so. So it's really, really good. And let's see, I did not read over my page. Let me see what else. So we always been doing the new you in 22. I'm telling you what, my husband has straight up got a new you. So we're going to talk about Bill. And I want to read a couple 5-star reviews. I have so many of these. I have to just keep thanking you all the time. I get so many of these, and I get so excited to get 5-star reviews because I know not every podcast does. And I just really appreciate the fact that y'all give me 5-star reviews all the time. And especially, well, I mean, I've been podcasting this whole time with what has been happening with my husband. And so if you don't know, you need to stay tuned. If you do know, this is a catch up. But I always still interview people because when you're interviewing other people, it's easy to talk to them and not think about what's happening in your own life. So I kept doing all my interviews and doing my stuff, but I just didn't feel like I was like ready, like 100% ready to get back into podcasting because, I share a lot of my heart and I talk to you guys about everything. And I don't know, I feel like now's my time. It's the fall. Who doesn't love the fall, the changing seasons? And it is a changing season. Okay, so I've pulled out a bunch of pages here. So let me read a couple of 5-star reviews. And if you would like the chance to have your 5-star review read, you have to leave one. And I have a site that puts them all together and sends them to me. And I print them all out. And then I read them. So we're going to read this one. It's 5 stars. It says, absolutely incredible value. Thank you, Dwan, for such an incredible podcast filled with so much value that we can all learn from. I look forward to hearing more and more episodes from you. That's John Taylor from the United States. Thank you, John. I appreciate it very much. And the next one is 5 stars. Such amazing content and information. Every time I listen to this podcast, so many gems in each of her episodes, and I am getting myself to implement them into my own business now. Thank you so much for all the work you put into bringing us value. No, Edward Baker from the United States. So thank you, Ed. I appreciate that. I've got one more here. It kind of went over onto 2 pages, so I'm going to read it so I don't miss it. Oh, yeah, no, it doesn't work that way. Okay, I'll just read one more then. Let's see here. She is amazing. Dwan is what I imagine a fun older sister would be like. Aw. Dwan, see, I really don't read these ahead of time. I tell you that. I hope I don't read one that's like nasty one of these days. Don't be doing that to me. Maybe I have to start reading ahead. Dwan is what I imagine a fun older sister would be like. She gives solid advice while also staying down to earth. Her Instagram stories are the best too. Thank you, Steve Olson. If you have not been following my social media, I started working on my TikTok page. So anyways, at Dwanderful, we're all about real estate investing. I've been doing it for over 30 years. I've done over 2,000 deals. I just closed a deal a couple weeks ago, made $36,000. I was so excited. So many things to catch up on. So we'll start with that deal. So I think when I was doing my summer series, I did a bunch of little 10-minute shows. I think I talked about the door knocking and the people that we met, the homeowners and stuff. And we started working with Doug and Lenny, closed that deal. That's when I made 36. We paid their closing costs an hour, so we netted 36 in 14 days. So from contract to closing, 14 days exact. And Elise, we just put her under contract. We are going to make about $25,000 off her, but we're going to have to sell her house retail. she's a hot mess. So her house is going to sell retail. It's too tight to flip it, and it's actually in really good condition, and it can sell retail. There's going to be someone that can kind of come in and update, like carbon paint. Like it's really a cute house. And we've got 3 other people that we're working with, and I'm not really sure where those deals are going to go. One I know will close. One will probably list, and one I'm not really sure. She's going all in on a heavy Chapter 7 bankruptcy, so it'll probably be a while with her, but she's got crazy amounts of medical bills and debt and stuff like that. So it was really fun because, I haven't been out door knocking for a while, and I haven't done any other than all the houses, of course, that we bought in Iowa, buildings, the 20 buildings. We've been working on those for like the last 4 or 5 years. But I haven't like actually gone out door knocking for a while because, I don't know, we're always busy and we're traveling and working on our buildings and stuff. So since Bill and I have been staying in Denver, my daughter's like, hey, let's go out. And I'm like, oh, that'd be so much fun. Let's go. Got to go on Monday. So every Monday, the girls pick me up at 10. We go door knocking all day. We have lunch. And the very first day we got 3 leads, and 2 of them, one closed, one's under contract now, and one's maybe by the time you hear this will already be under contract as well. And we just go every Monday. Now, I am in a hotel, so Bill booked some speaking. He's like, do you feel like you're ready to go out and speak again? I was like, yes, dude. I've been living with you in this space this big for 7 months. I'm totally ready to go out. But it wasn't a matter of me going out. It was a matter of him being able to take care of himself. So he was not able to drive, for a long time. And he had that port. And so I started doing a bunch of videos. So if you go to TikTok, Dwantastic, I'm Dwantastic on TikTok. If you go to TikTok, I did all kinds of videos over the last few months of the caretaking and the changing of the ports. And I started doing this thing called the hairbrush diaries. So every time Bill falls asleep, I take a hairbrush, I put it in my hand, and I act like I'm interviewing him. So I'm like, hey, so Bill Twyford, how's your day? And I put the down like a microphone, but he's asleep. So I have a whole bunch of the hairbrush diaries. They're pretty funny, actually. And a few times he woke up while I was doing them. Like, do you not have anything else to do? It's like, dude, I literally don't. I'm in this little space this big with you forever. So we moved there in February-ish or March 1st, like right around the beginning of the month. And no, in March. Yeah. We moved in March. And I moved in the snow in March. And then Bill got out somewhere there at the end of the month. I don't even know the dates. He got out at the end of March. And I'm telling you what, if you ever hear of someone having a stem cell transplant or a bone marrow transplant, you need to seriously support them and help them in any way that you can. It is not a joke. I mean, we watched all these videos. We had counseling sessions. We talked to all the doctors. We joined a Facebook group for people that have myelofibrosis, which is the specific blood cancer, bone cancer that lives inside the bone marrow. It's weird. It's not bone cancer. It's a blood cancer that lives inside of the bone marrow. So he had the chemo, they killed all the bone marrow, he got new stem cells. And just this last month of September, he's had 1 bone marrow biopsy every 30 days. And just in September, he's finally 100% Doris the donor. So, we call her Doris the donor because, I have to name everything. So and I told you all this way back in February or March, but his first crush when he was a little boy was Doris Day. And I was like, okay, Doris Day, he loves Doris Day. And I'm like, this is a donor. We'll name her Doris the donor. So it's DD, like Doris Day, Doris the donor, and, the girls. So DD's all around. And I have a weird sense of humor too. So all the way up until just September, he's still never been 100% of Doris the donor. And so until you're 100%, that means you have your own bone marrow and her bone marrow in there together. And it's just like getting a kidney or a liver or heart transplant. You have to take medication, and you have graft versus host and like all that stuff. And finally in September, he's 100% Doris. So now, so he's got 23-year-old DNA, and he's got all new bone marrow. And interestingly enough, he has new blood. So his blood type went from A, he's an O positive blood type. So he's got O blood. And it's, I don't know, it's weird because it's a new bone marrow and it took over the old bone marrow. So now he's like a new baby rebuilding his immune system. But he's been on crazy amounts of medication, like really crazy amounts of medication, to keep his immune system suppressed, because you don't want your immune system to try to fight with the new donor and attack, you know, your bone marrow or your organs or your kidneys or just anything. So it's really crazy. So you're building up a new immune system, but you're on like super heavy immune suppressants. So just in the month of September, they finally said, okay, you're 100% Doris. So it's like, woo, finally. So now he has to wean off of the immune suppressants so his own immune system can take back over. So this whole time, if you take your immune system on like a 1 to 10, he's been like a 1 or a 2. And just in the last 30 days, he's like a 4 or 5. So they're like, you're doing better. And of course, you know, he's like, can I travel? Can I go out and speak? Can I go to Iowa? And they said no. So I don't think he's going to fly or do anything till at least January. I mean, honestly, I told him, I said, you know what? I know that you're probably going to be fine. Like, we just went through so much in the last year. I don't want him to go out and travel too soon and get sick or catch something or whatever. And he drops dead on me after all this freaking caretaking I've been doing. So he's not going to go, but we had a chance to speak, and I'm in Atlanta right now. So I'm at the Marriott in Atlanta. I love Marriott. So I have actually, and we've lived at the Marriott Residence Inn this whole time. And I got to tell you what, I just love the company. I love the people. We met some of the big bosses. It's like, they're really a great company. So anyway, I had a chance to come here to Atlanta. So I'm doing a workshop this weekend, and I'm doing one in November or in October, in Baton Rouge. I don't know exactly. And I think I'm doing one, I'm going somewhere in November. So Bill's not going to go with me. So I'm going to travel by myself. Then my son will come on the weekends. So I got to tell you, the first few days, I was just like, I've been here all week. So I had a chance to speak. I said, I'm just going to spend the whole week and just relax, because I literally haven't been by myself for months and months and months and months. Months. And I tell you, after a couple of days, it's like, golly, I did not realize how tired I really was. Because that caretaking, I mean, it's not like it's hard. It's mostly just medication and food and stuff like that. But, you know, Bill was able to drive again a few months ago. So since he's been able to drive, it's been a lot easier, because he drives himself to the doctor, and he drives and picks up food and brings it back. And he does a lot, and he's wanted to do a lot the whole time. He just, sorry, I'm gonna move this around a little bit. I'm too close to the edge of my table. I need more space. I have space. I can spread out. so it's just been so nice traveling and having some time like completely by myself. It's like, oh my gosh, I did not realize how much I like actually being by myself. And I didn't realize how tired I was, and like really how much stress it is. That's what I was saying earlier. It's like, I swear I feel like I have PTSD, but I'm just all the stuff. It's like, seriously. So you ever hear anyone doing this, just seriously, man, lift them up in prayer, help them out any way that you can. It really is extremely life altering, really life altering. And it's scary. I mean, it is scary. It's scary and it's not. Like, it's super exciting because it's like, ooh, science project. Like, this is so cool. But then it's like, but you take so much medication and there's so many things that can go wrong, that the other part of you is just like, oh my God, I hope he doesn't die on me. But you know, a lot of people do. So that's the other scary thing. So that myelofibrosis group that we used to be a part of, a few of the people passed away. And you don't really know what happened. Is it from the transplant? Did they have a second or third secondary issue? Did they have something else? Did they have 3 kinds of cancer? Did they have heart problems? Like, you don't know. And no one ever tells you. Just say, oh, so-and-so, love this group. Thanks for your support. You know, they passed away. So we had to get out of that group. I was like, listen, I can't be in this group. I cannot be watching these people not knowing what's happening. someone that we've been following and texting and privately passes away. We don't know what's going on. Like, it was making me too freaked out. So we got out of that. And we just decided, like, just to focus on our own thing. Like, we're just going to do what the doctors told us. We're going to stop reading all the scary stuff on the internet, which I highly advise. If you have anything wrong with you, been diagnosed with anything, stop reading all the scary stuff on the internet. And we're just going to rock through this, and we're just going to rock and roll like we always do. And so it's been really good, really surprisingly good. It's hard, but not hard physically. It's just kind of hard mentally. And it took me, I don't even know, it took me like 2 months, I think, to be able to like sleep through the night, because I would wake up 100 times a night, it felt like, and, make sure Bill was breathing. So there's just a lot to it. It's like, oh my God. But so some interesting changes in his body as his hair is growing back in. And he's had hair, but it's been really light on the top. He had a really big bald spot, and that hair is growing back. So I'm thinking, because women don't typically have like male pattern baldness, I'm thinking that's growing back in because of all the female DNA. His skin is so smooth. It's like, I just touch his arms. I'm like, I cannot get over. I mean, literally, I cannot get over how soft his skin is. I told Bill, I said, well, I'll tell you what, it won't be long before all these movie stars, all these rich people will be doing this to look younger. But his skin is unbelievable, and his hair's got a different texture. It's so soft, and it's kind of white. It's like really silver. It's really pretty, actually. And the good thing is he's not allowed to color it for a couple years. I said, just let it grow, man. Just be that silver fox for me. I love it. So I have the pink hair, you be the silver fox. Like, that'd be good. So I like it. He does not like the fact that it's white and gray. It's gray, but it's like that really pretty silver. It's like really pretty shiny silver hair. So that's kind of fun. Sex drive is like, I don't even know what happened there. It's like, oh my God. I'm afraid. Okay, that's definitely 23-year-old right there. That's like all the time. It's like, oh my God, stop. So that's interesting. And I don't know. He's got good energy. He still sleeps a lot, though. He does still sleep a lot. And that's just from his body on the inside is still like a baby. So, babies, they just kind of eat and they poop and you change their diaper and they sleep. Like, they're pretty easy. So he sleeps a lot still. I don't think he likes the fact that he still sleeps so much, but it's one time I get any peace and quiet. So I'm always super excited when he falls asleep for a little while. But I tell you what, I really learned a lot in the last 7 months, and mostly about people. You really truly do find out, like, who has your back, who says they have your back, but they don't actually have your back, who's supportive, who's not supportive, who reaches out to help, who doesn't. It's really been surprising. There's been a few people that I thought would be more supportive that were not. And a few people I never expected to even hear from that call every single week, and they put money in the GoFundMe, and just, it's really crazy. People, I gotta tell you, I mean, I know you can never expect anyone to treat you the way that you treat them. And even the Bible says, treat others the way you'd like to be treated, but it doesn't say they have to treat you back the same way. But there's a few people that, in my opinion, I thought that we were closer than we actually were, and that I will actually never work for again. Because when you have a minute to kind of sit back and see how people are, you're like, wow, I did not know that. So there's a few people that I have not worked for in the past and worked with because of things of that I thought that turned out to be different. So there's a few people I'm going to work with that I haven't in a while. There's a few other people that I will absolutely never work with ever, because they're just kind of shitty people. So it's really interesting when you get a few minutes to take a minute and sit back and watch people from afar, and you're not really interacting with all of the, and even family members too, professional people. Like, I'm not just talking about just business people, but a little bit of everything. You really get a chance to see a lot when you have time to sit back and watch people. So just between phone conversations and things on the internet and things I read and find out about people, it's like, So it's really changed my views a lot about people. I think people are basically good. I really do. I think people are basically good. I think we do have a natural desire to want to help people. Like, I want to help all of you become successful. and be financially free. I think we have a basic desire to want to be helpful. I also understand that not everybody can be helpful in a crisis situation because not everybody can handle things the way another person does. I happen to just be very strong, and I'm that person that just always steps up in any kind of an emergency. I always step up, but then, and I do whatever has to be done. But then when it's like over, I'm the one that's just like, oh, I need a break for real. So I mean, anything. My dad had a heart attack. My little mama had a stroke. Like my mom had a surgery. Just anything. I'm just like, boom, I'm right there on the next flight. I'm right there helping. I do everything. But then when it's over, I'm like, oh my goodness gracious. But with this, I was all like, I'm all in. Let's do what we can. But then it drags on, drags on, drags on. You really kind of sort of have to make things a new way of life. So interestingly, you have to make things a new way of life. I have definitely learned how to relax a little bit more. I've learned how to take a little more personal time for myself. Because I was all like full on caretaking, like 24 hours a day for the first 90 days, and then I was exhausted over it. And you can't really be, and that old saying about that you can't be good for other people if you don't take care of yourself really is true. And I think it took me all the way till I'm in my 60s to actually realize that if I want to be effective in helping other people, I really do have to take more time for myself, truly. And I'm not good about that. I'm good about like a day here, a day there. Let's go do this. Let's go to the spa. Da, 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 da. I like to take like real time. I don't do that as much as I should, but I am doing it now. So I realized that in order for me to help anybody or take care of anybody, I got to take care of Dwan first. So I have put myself in front of other people, and I always feel like I'm that person. I think a lot of us are. They're like, oh, we have to help other people and do everything for everybody else, and we be really selfless, and we think it makes us like a hero or something. But honestly, the best thing you can do is say no to people and take care of what you need to take care of for yourself and your family. So I've learned to say no, and I always thought I knew how to say no, but I really learned big time how to say no now, like really hard no on things, like no, period. Conversation's over. So that's been really good for me too. So I don't know. It's really been an interesting time. It's been super fun to watch the real estate markets and watch what's been happening and coaching my students and talking to people and learning more about the banks and then being out myself in the field, talking to homeowners and talking to banks. And when I call the banks, I mean, a lot of the banks, I have contacts really high up in the bank, but I call the paper that the homeowners have that says, call this number. I just call that number because that's how I can find out what's really going on. Because the people I talk to can just get deals done for me. Literally, I can just like text the Wells Fargo and say, here's the account number, here's this, here's that, and I can get stuff done. But it's kind of, I decided to sort of go back and do it from like a fresh perspective. So I've been working with Selena Bank and US Bank and Wells Fargo, and I just call the 800 number and just go through like anybody else would go through, seeing like what's happening right now. And I gotta tell you, the people at the bank right now, they're like so pissed off. Really, it's been shocking. I'm going to talk about that during the month of October as we're going through the month. But I got to tell you, these people in the bank, they are super fed up and they're super tired of having thousands. I spent last weekend with two people that are just really heavy in loss mitigation and at a workshop. And oh my gosh, the people at loss mitigation have lost their minds. They're so aggressive and they're so rude and they're so just like they're fed up. They're really fed up. It's been really really interesting. I gotta tell you, it's really been interesting. So I'd say all in all, I'm doing good. I think I'm not doing great, but I think I'm doing good. I've been struggling with my RA quite a bit. So I'm going to Florida next week to see my doctor. I haven't seen my doctor for a long time. And I need a couple steroid shots in my hip. I need a few little things like that. And I think a couple days at the beach, and I think I'll be great. But I'm like good plus. And Bill is really, he's great. Honestly, he's doing great. He is feeling better. He's able to drive. He looks good. He gained his weight back. Because if you look back on some of the TikToks and the Facebooks, he got really thin. He got down to like 174, 175 pounds. You get really thin there for a minute, and which is kind of scary because he looked like really thin. And But I know that was all normal. And they said, no, you expect this. Like, that's how it's going to be. Don't worry about it. It's normal. It's normal. It's normal. But seeing it and then looking at a picture of him, you know, 6 months ago to, when he was down 174 pounds, you're like, oh my God, it looks like he's going to die. And now he's back up to like 200, 205, something like that. So he's got a good appetite. Yeah, he's eating good. He's driving, still sleeping a lot, which I know he doesn't like, but it's honestly good for him because he hates to just rest and take care of himself. This has forced him to really take care, and this is a lifelong thing. Like, he has to take care of himself. And me too. I mean, I do always do the hair, the nails, that kind of stuff. But like, really just taking like time, like just days and not doing anything or being responsible for anything or not doing anything, that's been kind of nice too. So I'm going to spend more time in Florida. I really love Florida. Really, like, more than I realized how much I love Florida. So I'm going to spend more time in Florida and less time in Colorado. I do like and love Colorado, but honestly, I'm really deep at heart. I'm a Florida girl. So Bill's just gonna have to come with me more often, or we're just gonna be apart more because I really am, at my soul, I am a beach girl. And that's where my peace lies. And that's why I'm super excited to be going to Florida here in a few days. And so, at this point in my life, it's like I love my family, I love my husband, I love my kids, but I also love myself. And myself is happier in the warmer weather, at the beach, doing those things, being on my boat. Like, those are the things that really make Dwan happy. So I'm going to spend more time doing the things like that and not always just being where everybody else in the family is at. And so I don't know if that makes me selfish or not, but it makes me have a lot of self-care. So that's, I guess, a good way to say it. And so I don't know. I'm super excited. It's October and we've got new music. We've got a new look. If you are at dwanderful.com, Dwanderful on Instagram, Dwanderful on Facebook, Dwanderful Real Estate Investing channel on YouTube. I have a new channel. I have Dwantastic on TikTok. So it is a new you in 22, and it literally is a new me. A new me in 23. How about that? A new me in 23. And so I've got I interviewed someone that you'll actually hear from today's Tuesday. So on Thursday, you'll hear from Chrissy Yoder. And I interviewed her and I actually hired her company. So I have a full VA team now. And let me tell you something, having a VA team is the best thing I've ever done. I've had all kinds of people working for me all these decades. But it's at a point now where, like, this person does this and this person does that, and one person can't do it all anymore. And so I have like 100 different people. And I interviewed Christy. I think she'll be on, she's on Thursday, Christy Yoder. She was so great. When I interviewed her, I could just feel like, okay, this is the next direction I need to go in. So I hired them. And I have a team of like 8 people, and they're so amazing. I mean, they do the social media, they do all the SEO stuff, they do just all this editing. You'll be hearing new music, the webinars, like they just do everything on the Dwanderful side of things. And the Dwanderful side has grown a lot, which I had hoped that it would. But honestly, I was getting to where I was like overwhelmed trying to take care of all the Dwanderful things and trying to, take care of Bill and my family and myself and my parents and like all the people and doing real estate and all of it. And it just became like a little bit overwhelming there for a while. So I think the thing with Bill was kind of a good break for both of us. This just gave us a chance to really look at like what's important and what do we want to do going forward and where do we want to direct our energy and time. And I really love my whole Dwanderful everything about it. I love my pink hair. I love everything about it. I love my podcast, love the site, love my students. I love you guys. I love everything about it. So I'm super happy to have the VA team because they take the pressure off me to do all those things that I've been trying to do and manage. And so I think this thing with Bill, in addition to the fact that he doesn't have any cancer in his body, because they killed it, they gave him new bone marrow and it all grew back. So everything is perfect with his body. He's amazing. He's healthy. He's like a fresh baby, which is great. And I got a chance to really look at the things I do and the things I need to delegate out and have other people do for me. And so I hired this VA team. So when you hear me interview Christy on Thursday, I'm telling you, I loved her. I checked her out, and I've had everyone and their brother trying to get me to work with them for decades. And I said, no, this is my team. These are my people. And so I hired her company to do all the VA stuff for me. And let me tell you something. It is the best thing. And I know that y'all, Glaze is going to be editing. She's like, oh, thank you, Dwan. I'm telling you, it is the best thing I've ever done. I cannot believe the amount of things. Now that I have other people doing it and I look at how much time it takes me to get them all the information and train them, it's like, how on God's earth did I do all this stuff on myself? Like, seriously, I have caused myself to work so hard for so long, and I could have just, but it wasn't my time. It wasn't time yet to get my right VA team, but it is time now, and they're really amazing. And you'll hear her talk next week, and you can just go to smartva.com or Christy Yoder YODER.com, and I'm going to give her a big push, because after I interviewed her, I think I interviewed her back in August. I hired them. And I'm telling you, it's the best thing ever. So October, this is my new launch of colors and looks and vibes and sounds. And like, this is it. So I had to come on and do the first podcast for October for myself. So I can just update you on Bill, update you on me, update you on Dwanderful, update you on what's happening in the world. And of course, we're going to go hard on what's happening in the real estate industry, because it is nothing but crazy. The real estate industry has lost its mind right now. So if you have ever thought for 1 second, hey, I want to be a real estate investor, I am telling you right now, do not miss this window. We have the greatest window I've ever seen. I mean, we'll talk about that next week. So, and I had gotten out of the habit of doing the life equity, because I was doing those little 10-minute ones during the summer. But honestly, 10 minutes was like all I could focus. I think I lost part of my mind this summer, which is so much happening. It's like, oh my God, I can't do all of this. So now I've got my hubby's good again, and I've got my VA team, and I've got my mindset on where I need to be and what I need to be doing. And it's great. So we're going to go back to doing our life equities at the end. So, the life equities are financial, physical, mental, family, and spiritual. So at the end of each podcast, I'll be giving out an assignment of one of the 5 equities of life. And, you've always heard me say since day one, if you take the 5 things and put them together, that's kind of what makes us a whole person. And I think that we do tend to get focused on one portion of our life or another, and it's hard to have balance. And if anything I've learned over the last year with all this with Bill is that balance is so much more important than even you think it might be. I always preach about it and talk about it, and I always try to have balance. But I'm telling you, having everything be so intense, and then like now I'm completely away from it, but it's still happening, and like all this stuff's going on. One thing I have learned is that balance really is like the key to success and happiness and actually having a good life for yourself. Because this whole medical thing has been so encompassing. It's been hard to do anything else. So it was hard to maintain some of my friendships. It was hard, and we didn't get to see the family at all, like not at all, for months and months and months. Nobody. My parents are in their 80s. And I'm telling you, it was like, I feel like I had been on the crazy train of life, like legitimately on the crazy train. And so now that I have a minute to just kind of look back, and we're still in it. Like, Bill's got a long way to go. He's not anywhere near out of the woods, but he's out of the initial woods of the rejection, and his body is accepted, and his blood type has changed, and his DNA has changed, and all that stuff. And he feels good, and he's clear thinking again. And so we're on the other side of that, but we still have such a long way to go. But it's okay, because we're in it for the long haul anyway. But I tell you, it's interesting when you get a lot of time to reflect sometimes. And it's interesting that when you get on the other side of something, who's with you and who's not with you, but some by choice and some because you're just like, So it's want to see how things go. So the life equity this week. So, I write them out of my book all through the whole year. And I missed a few months of doing these with you all, but we're at the week where it would be physical. So the life equity this week is physical. So remember, the 5 equities of life are financial, spiritual, physical, mental, and family. And all of these things, and family is like family and friends, and all of these things together basically make us who we are. And we all tend to focus on one thing or the other based on what's happening in our life. Like, for sure, this last few months, it was all about caretaking. So like physical and financial, like it was crazy with the money. And it's like, oh my God. And we've not had so many money problems in our lives. It's like, how is all this happening right now? The insurance wouldn't cover so many things. It's like, what is happening right now? So it's really been crazy. And I feel like we have definitely been out of balance because, and not really though. We made sure we talked to all the family. We worked out a little bit every day. Bill has to walk. We did Bible study. We are back to regularly doing 2 Bible studies, 1 in the morning, 1 at night. We reorganized all of our debt. We actually did a lot of things that we've been needing to do for a long time, and we just haven't taken the time. So we reorganized a bunch of our debt. We reprioritized a whole bunch of things and people. And so I feel like both of us are coming out on the other end better, healthier in all ways, mentally, physically, family, like everything. So much better on the other side. And Bill doesn't have myelofibrosis, so that's super amazing. Now, if I could just get cured from my rheumatoid arthritis and get my hip just like cured right up, we'd be perfect. But this week is physical is the equity of this week. And so I wrote down an assignment. So, I always give assignments. And I'm going to give you an assignment that you probably would not expect off of the equity of physical. But I'm going to give you an assignment. I'm going to tell you that tomorrow, the next day, I want you to stay in bed for like 30 minutes or an hour extra. Just lay in bed. I did that today. I stayed in bed for 2 hours. I just stretched and I was just praying. I was talking to the Lord. I was like, I tell you what, just staying in bed I feel so rejuvenated today because this is my bed right there. I stayed in bed after I woke up for 2 hours. No TV, no noise, no music, no phone. Just thinking, praying, stretching, just enjoying how quiet it is, enjoying the fact that I feel good, enjoying and thinking back about what's been happening. And I all these people are like, yeah, you get up at 5 a.m. if you want to be a rock star. And it's like, no, you don't. No, you don't. I'm on the other end of the spectrum. I'm the person that stays up late. It's my creative things that happen at night for me. So I'm the person that like at 10 o'clock when everybody goes to bed, I'm up till like 2 or 3 in the morning. So not this whole time with Bill though. Actually up a lot because the poor man was taking medication at like 7 a.m. at 8. It's the 8, 10, 12, 2 and then 3 again, and then 6 and 8 and 10. All different medication, all different stuff, cleaning that port. I mean, I am not going to lie. It's a lot. I did not miss anything by not being in the medical field. I did not miss my calling. I did not miss anything by not being in the medical field. I do not know how these people do it. I'm telling you, you see some of the videos in the beginning. I was hacking and gagging like what, all the time, having to change that port and dealing with all that stuff. And I mean, it's obviously you get used to it. But man, I'm telling you what, I did not miss any calling in my life at all by not being in the medical field. All right. So I'm getting too rambling now, but I just wanted to catch up. I haven't had a chance to really talk to all of you since all the way back since, I don't know, February. And I've had so many great guests, though. I interviewed so many great people. I have so many guests in the queue, so many good interviews that I've done. But it's time for me to get back and like start talking to you and teaching and catching you up on everything that's happening myself. And I have actually missed everybody. And y'all have been writing me all these great reviews all this time. Everyone's still listening. My numbers have actually gone up. So I don't know. Is that you all telling me that you like the guests better than me? Or is it just getting traction? I'm just going to say it's getting traction because I've had nothing but guests for months. So I don't want to think my numbers are going up because y'all like my guests better. Because I mean, what's more wonderful than this? All this goodness right here, all this wonderfulness. All right, so physical. I'm going to challenge you, and maybe you work Monday through Friday, you got kids and you can't do it, and maybe it's the weekend. I'm just going to challenge you just to like lay in bed and not like sleep back, just like lay there and just relax and stretch and be happy for all the goodness in your life. There's a lot of goodness in the world. People are basically good. And if you watch the news, it doesn't seem that way. But in my experience over the last year, people are basically good. So you know what? Let's be nicer to other people. If you're nicer to them, they'll be nicer to you. All right. Now remember, if you opt in at Dwanderful.com, you get 4 free ebooks. I'm going to ask you to do me a favor. If you like my show and you love me, I want you to go on to Apple and leave a 5-star review and subscribe, because I can't grow without you. So this is a team effort for the both of us. And just hit me up at anything on Dwanderful. All over, just Google it. I'm literally everywhere. And I'm back, and I'm excited to be back. And it's the fall, and we're getting ready to roll into 2023 coming up soon. So if you have not gotten your real estate jam on, you need to get with it, because you are in the last quarter of the year, and this is the best time to work with the banks. So get it together and get some deals done. It is time for you to make that money. I did that one deal, door knocks, closed the deal. It's like, boom, there you go. People go, oh, Dwan, it's because you know. It's like, I don't know. I knocked on the same door just like everybody else does. Just got the deal. So if I can do it, you can do it too. All right. So opt in. I'm just covering my notes. I haven't read one of these in a while. You know, I really don't read stuff before I go live, so I probably should. But that's part of my cuteness. Okay, so we'll be back next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. And remember that the truth is in the red letters. Ciao.